Well, hey everybody, John Ritlin here with another ranking video. Every WrestleMania Intercontinental title match ranked from worst to best, and the Intercontinental title has been the workhorse title, has made a resurgence at 3 of the last 4 WrestleManias with some really good matches that I'll get to here in a bit. There's also been some bad ones, and it's been kind of a mixed bag actually, the more I looked at this list before I decided to do this. And I will also be doing tag team titles, and also every WWE title match from a WrestleMania ranked from worst to best. So please look out for those. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. And once again, guys, I gotta state it again because apparently people think that I think I'm some kind of insider. No, I am a wrestling fan, and I speak to other wrestling fans. That's it. That's all I am. So anyway, with that being said, here we go with all 24 of these Intercontinental title matches at a WrestleMania, ranked from worst to best. Number 24, JBL versus Ray at Mania 25. JBL beats up Ray, and bell rings. Ray beats him within like 21 seconds. JBL whines like a bitch and quits. Now, it was JBL's retirement match. That's how he wanted to go out and all good and everything. But anytime you get to see John Bitchall Layfield, and yeah, that's a cheap joke. I don't care. The guy's a little bitch that blocks people on Twitter for nothing. He's a friggin' bully and a friggin' piece of shit, and I'm glad he retired. Because nobody wanted to see him wrestle anymore. I certainly didn't. But he got to go out the way he wanted, and Ray got to be champion. So cool. Great stuff. Then we go number 23, JYD, Junkyard Dog versus Greg the Hammer Valentine at Mania 1. Greg did not have charisma. JYD had loads of charisma. One had wrestling ability, and one really could just do what he did. And that's JYD. JYD could do what he did. Greg was a great technician in the ring. This match was not that good. It really wasn't. I mean, JYD was super over with the crowd. Greg was easy to hate. He did help make that Intercontinental title matter quite a bit. After having a couple reigns with it, but it's just I don't know. I just got this like weird vibe from Greg Valentine. But that being said, fluky finish, not really all that good. And it was kind of sloppy. It really was. I mean, you'll see what I mean. If you watch it, you'll understand what I mean. Number 22, Bruce Beefcake versus the Honky Tonk Man at Mania 4. Look, and like either of these guys, but fuck, I will watch Bruce Beefcake matches repeatedly before I watch Honky Tonk Man matches, without having to, review them. Sorry, Honky Tonk Man, never cared for him. The guy's a piece of shit. Guy couldn't wrestle at all. The guy was a lousy gimmick. It's a lousy promo. He just was bad at everything. And there are some people that watch my channel that like Honky Tonk Man. That's fine. I'm not saying you guys can't. I'm not saying you guys can't like any of the people I knock on here. It's just my take as a fan. But he was in the midst of his Intercontinental title reign, and it wasn't very good. One of the worst Intercontinental champions of all time. Longest reigning, sure, but I can't name one good match he had. Can't name one. So that's really all I gotta say there. I know Bruce didn't win, because of course he didn't. So Honky Tonk still held it for a number of months after. It's about 4 more months. And then we get to number 21, Rocky Maivia versus the Sultan at Mania 13. Rocky Maivia was The Rock. If you didn't know that, I'm sorry that I had to be the one to tell you. I was hoping that maybe you were hoping you could maintain this aura of thinking they're two separate people. But I'm sorry, I had to be the one to tell you. But also the Sultan was Rikishi. Again, if you didn't know that. To be fair, I wouldn't actually blame you if you didn't know that, because the Sultan was a pretty forgettable character. And you had Iron Sheik and Bob Backlund at ringside. Rock got just freaking shredded by the crowd. This was starting to get towards the Die Rocky Die stuff and everything, and that was just a tiny bit, too far, saying Die Rocky Die. I know the character wasn't very compelling, but good God, we don't need to be doing that. Rocky Maivia wins. Everybody starts to beat him up, and then Rocky Johnson, his actual dad, comes down, as opposed to his fake dad, his kayfabe dad, runs down. Babyface to chase off. Father and son are standing there tall, and the crowd didn't care. Oh God, the crowd just savaged Rock so much. Thank God they let him become The Rock, and he could cut all those promos and everything and show his charisma. Oh, but yeah. That just wasn't a very good match. Number 20, Corbin versus Ambrose on the Mania 33 pre-show, and I wanted to put this one higher because even at this point, I was like, okay, Corbin isn't very interesting, but him and Ambrose could have a good match. And they did not have a good match. It was not very good. And Ambrose, yeah, it just wasn't very good. It just really wasn't. And neither guy really seemed to care. The crowd didn't care. It just was not that good. Sad, because I was actually kind of looking forward to it, and when it got bumped to the pre-show, I go, oh, that's kind of stupid. It's not shocking. It's kind of stupid. And then we go to number 19, Randy Savage versus George the Animal Steele at Mania 2. I loathe putting Randy Savage this low, but it was a bad match. Mainly because of George Steele, because George Steele could never wrestle. And, well, there we go with that. So, yeah, Randy Savage ended up retaining his title, as he should have. But it was what it was. So, yeah, Randy Savage got that victory and kept his title, and that's what really should have happened. He would end up holding the title for like 13 months because he had just won it recently from Tito Santana in a pretty good match, actually. It was on Randy Savage's collection. So that happened, and then we get to number 18, Big Show versus Cody Rhodes. When he was Cody Rhodes, when he's allowed to have the Rhodes last name, even though he's Cody fucking Rhodes. Apparently Vince wants to be stupid. But I digress. This is that Mania 28, and I'm just going to say Big Show should have not beaten Cody here for the title. Cody could have won by countout, or Big Show could have won by disqualification. Big Show could have laid him out afterwards, had a big moment, and Cody could have continued his title reign and actually held it and broken Honky Tonk Man's record, which is what should have happened. He would have had to have gone past SummerSlam of that year and probably about to the Royal Rumble or December or the Royal Rumble of 2013, but still it would have been nice, and Cody would have been a guy who deserved to be the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion. But anyway, that happened and Big Show won, and he almost broke Cody in half. It was what it was. So, we get to number 17, Road Dogg versus Goldust versus Shamrock versus Val Venis at Mania 15. Road Dogg was in a hardcore feud and got taken out of that and got put in an Intercontinental title run. And Billy Gunn was an Intercontinental title feud with Shamrock and Val Venis a month before this at St. Valentine's Day Massacre, about 6 weeks before this, and got put into the hardcore feud instead. There was no reason for that. It's not knocking Billy Gunn. Everything against Road Dogg, because Road Dogg's an idiot, and I don't know why he cared if he was champion, because wins and losses don't fucking matter, and the guy's a moron. The guy doesn't deserve to have everything said to him that people have said. I mean, let's be honest about that. He may not be very good at his job, at least from what I can see. But for fuck's sake, there are people sending the guy death threats. Let's slow down and not do the death threats and the injury. Let's not do that. Let's just slow down on that. Okay? Little PSA there. But anyway, Road Dogg ended up against two superior workers, and Val Venis actually was about as good as Road Dogg in the ring, meaning not at all. But yeah, Ken Shamrock and Goldust deserve better than this. That's what I'll say. It just was not. Mania 15 was lousy. And then we get to number 16, Big Boss Man versus Mr. Perfect at Mania 7. Both these guys are dead, and I am sad. Bobby Heenan was the manager, and he's dead. That's sad. This is really sad. I'm gonna move on from that. Mr. Perfect had held the title for a few months. He had beaten Kerry Von Erich, I think in December of 1990, and would actually have a near, I don't want to say record-breaking, but a pretty long reign. He would held it from December of 90 to SummerSlam of 91, so about 8 months. And so obviously Boss Man did not win. Here Boss Man was feuding with the Bobby Heenan's family, doing pretty well there, getting pretty over and everything, even though Boss Man was over after he'd switched babyface the Mania before when he beat Akeem. I don't know how I remember this stuff, but seriously, I can't remember when I wake up. I can't remember if I have breakfast in the morning, but I can remember when Big Boss Man turned babyface. It was a pretty cool moment, though. I think it was 9 years old when that happened. But this was a good match. It might have been almost better if Boss Man would have won, but he didn't. Boss Man really didn't need a title, even though he'd become hardcore champion at one point, and he'd be tag team champion with Ken Shamrock later in his career. But still, it was what it was, and they did good by the feud. Excuse me. And it was good stuff. I really did it. I really did enjoy this. And now we're going to get a little better. I loathe putting this one low, but at number 15, it's Tatanka versus Shawn Michaels at Mania 9, because up until the stupid finish where they didn't have Tatanka win the title, it was actually pretty terrific. It was. It was a well-worked match. Some of the matches actually, Mania 9, if you look at the match quality, some of the matches are pretty goddamn good. It was the dodgy finishes that were a problem, and the fact that Hogan had to close the show. But anyway, Tatanka should have won the title. Shawn played politics and all that stuff, and everything was not a good move. But par for the course, because Shawn was always a whiny bitch. So Yep, Tatanka didn't win. Got the steam taken out of him, even though he won the match. So his undefeated streak continued. Him not winning the title, his undefeated streak didn't really matter at that. If he had won it here and held it till SummerSlam, Shawn and Marty could have had their program and stuff like that, and then Tatanka could have feuded with people and then dropped it back to Shawn in '93, something like, at SummerSlam '93, and it would have been fine. And then Tatanka would have had his, would have had a good run, everything, but whatever. We then get number 14, Miz versus Wade Barrett at Mania 29 on the pre-show, and Miz winning the title here and dropping it 24 hours later was not a good idea, and it wasn't a good idea when they had Zack Ryder do it 3 years later, which I'll get to that match, don't worry. But Barrett should have just retained the title here, because the match they had on this pre-show wasn't very good. The match they had on Raw, where Barrett won the title back, wasn't very good either. But at least there was a champion, new champion crowned, or at least, it was a better match and it was a decisive finish as opposed to the previous match I mentioned. So yeah, it was what it was. I would have maybe ranked this higher if Barrett would have retained. And then we get to number 13, RVD versus William Regal at Mania 18. Covered it before. RVD winning was great. Regal got some good moves, including that, Regal neck breaker that he does, and just, my God, RVD folding up like an accordion. But RVD winning was perfect. And you got to feud with Eddie Guerrero afterwards, and Regal still got to have a good run after this. And then number 12, Ken Shamrock versus The Rock at Mania 14. It was only a 5-minute match, but this is where Shamrock started to show his rage and snapping on officials and stuff like that. And doing, snapping on officials. But it was pretty damn good. They would have a better match in the King of the Ring finals, and they actually had a pretty damn good feud where Rock still retained the title, but Shamrock would still get over. Again, this is another one where if a title change had happened, I might have ranked it a little bit higher, but it was pretty cool. Even though the match was quick, you did have that aftermath, which adds a little bit to this match, even though it was technically afterwards. And then we get number 11 from Mania 17. I got so excited about that number because Mania 17 is my favorite Mania of all time. Jericho versus William Regal. Good match. It was a bit longer than the one with RVD. The Regal would have with RVD a bit later. Jericho won. Cool. And would continue to have a decent run. I think he would actually lose the Intercontinental title soon after, but he had a decent run with it, so at least that was nice. And then, number 10, Rick Rude versus the Ultimate Warrior at Mania 5. Despite Rick Rude being one of the best premier goddamn workers of his generation, he had to work with the Warrior. And Warrior's fucking rotten. And no, I don't feel bad about saying that about Ultimate Warrior. I don't care that he's dead. I'm not saying I'm not saying that I wished for it to happen, because I didn't. It was certainly a shocking thing, but I didn't shed a tear about it because Warrior was a piece of shit, never belonged in the goddamn wrestling business, and that's all I really gotta say about that. He lost the title here. Bobby Heenan held his feet under the rope, or held his feet down, because Warrior doesn't understand, how physics works, and his feet were probably stronger, but whatever. He lost, and then he beat up Bobby Heenan because Warrior is a careless, clueless twat. And Rick Rude got to hold the Intercontinental title for a few months. Then drop it back to Warrior at Mania, or not Mania, but heading into Mania 80 or 90. Warrior got to go in as Intercontinental Champion after winning at SummerSlam 89. Rick Rude deserved better than he got as far as championship runs there. But at least he got to beat Warrior. Because Warrior's a piece of shit and never deserved to be in the wrestling business. Did I mention that? So then we go to number 9. Benoit versus Angle versus Jericho at Mania 16, Mania 2000. This was for Angle's Intercontinental and European Championship, since he was a dual champion. So yeah, it's maybe cheating a little bit, but the Intercontinental title was on the line. So that's why, I do it here. And okay, it was what it was. Angle ended up losing both his titles without actually getting pinned. Benoit pinned Jericho to win the Intercontinental title. Jericho pinned Benoit to win the European title. Hooray! And then Angle got pissed, and then Angle kind of got, slotted down the card and beat up. And then won the title suddenly at No Mercy 2000 versus The Rock. The WWE title, that is. Still, it was a good triple threat. 2 matches in one. Really nice stuff. Really, technically, I guess it was 2 out of 3 falls, but it was for both matches. So it was good stuff. I did enjoy this one. And then we get to number 8. We get Jeff Jarrett versus Razor Ramon at Mania 11. Good stuff. Jarrett and Razor actually did work really well together. Especially at the Royal Rumble 95 was a bit better match than this. But it was still a good match. It was very well wrestled, and really have no complaints about this. Mania 11, you can have a lot of complaints about the setup and how it wasn't very good. This actually had some good stuff to it. This was a pretty fabulous match. And I don't say that about a lot of Jeff Jarrett matches, because Jeff Jarrett was a very mid-card worker that was never a main event guy. But he could have some pretty good goddamn mid-card title matches when he wanted to. And Razor, God, I wish that Scott Hall's head was on straight, because he could have been WWE champion and WCW champion. But it was a good match, though. And then we get to number 7, Piper versus Brett at Mania 8. And I really wanted to rank this higher. The only reason I didn't, and I feel bad for not ranking this higher, but it was such a good match. Great blood feud. Because, they made it seem very, very personal and everything, even though Piper and Brett knew each other really well. And, Piper knew the Hart family really well. They passed off the Blade job as a hard way, and they did it really, really well. Of course, with Ric Flair, you could tell, Ric Flair and Savage, you could tell that Ric Flair did the blading, and WWE had a very strict no blading policy, and even though Vince probably knew that Brett and Piper bladed, he passed it off there. It was still a very good match where Piper and Brett had a great wrestling match with some great, teases of like Piper being a heel and everything, but he didn't do that, and Brett ended up winning after reversing the sleeper hold, and they shook hands afterwards. Really good stuff. I really like this. I wish it was ranked higher, but I got a reason why the other 6 matches are ranked higher. We get for Mania 31 in a ladder match, we get Daniel Bryan, Wade Barrett, Dean Ambrose, Dolph Ziggler, Luke Harper, Stardust, and R-Truth. And this is where Daniel Bryan won the Intercontinental title. And I talked about this match, so I'm not going to go into the spots and everything. But Daniel Bryan winning was great stuff. He won the title at the previous Mania to close the show, and he won a title to open up the main card of this one. It was really good stuff, and I really did enjoy. Such a shame that Bryan had to retire soon after this, only to be able to unretire 2 years after that. Bryan winning the Intercontinental title was very nice. And then number 5, another match I had talked about before, but it was from Mania 32, so the following Mania, another ladder match for the Intercontinental title. God damn those Intercontinental title ladder matches, stealing the goddamn show, including one that I'm going to get to here in a bit. Bit of a spoiler if you can't figure that out. Zack Ryder versus Dolph Ziggler versus Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn versus Miz versus Sin Cara versus Stardust. Good stuff. Really good stuff. One of Cody's last matches that he had in WWE. Gee, I wonder why he wanted to leave. Oh yeah, the Stardust character was complete ass. Couldn't Vince have just fired Kevin Dunn instead? Seriously, fuck Kevin Dunn. Or don't. Gross. Why the fuck would anybody want to do that? Great match, though. Even Sin Cara had a great showing. It was really, really good stuff. And Zack Ryder gained the victory. It was really nice, even though he dropped the title 24 hours later. He dropped it to Miz. They should have let Zack Ryder hold it longer, even though Miz got some great heat out of it. So, then that's done. We're on to the top 4. Hogan versus Warrior at Mania 6. You may be shocked I ranked this above Piper and Brett. But a lot of people forget that Warrior's Intercontinental title was on the line here too, and Hogan could have actually won that title. And Hogan's never won the Intercontinental title. God forbid, don't ever have Hogan come back to the ring to do that. But a lot of people forget it was also for the Intercontinental title, and it was good stuff, even though I really don't care for both guys. Both guys aren't exactly the best people, and Warrior's a piece of shit. Hey, it was for the Intercontinental title, and it got the Intercontinental title into the main event. Champion versus champion, it worked. It worked. So whether I like both these guys or not, it did work really goddamn well. And of course Hogan lost, but kicking out at 3 1/8. But hey, Warrior got to hold both titles and then relinquish the Intercontinental title afterwards. But it was good stuff. I really did. As much as I don't like to admit it, hey, it was a Mania main event for the ages. Number 3, Rollins versus Balor versus Miz at Mania 34. Covered my opening matches, so you can get my full thoughts there. But very good stuff. I know I've said that about some of these matches, but I just don't want to repeat every single thing, so I do apologize for some of that. But it's like, I don't want to leave matches out, because then what's the point of a ranking video? Yeah, there's going to be a few repeats, except for the last 2. But yeah, Rollins versus Balor versus Miz was terrific. Smooth, well done. These guys tore the house down. Asuka and Charlotte would just raise the bar a little bit later. Like, I literally think the next match But these guys did so damn well. That's how you kick off a WrestleMania, and that's how you make the Intercontinental title matter. So Rollins doing that was terrific. We get to number 2. Razor Ramon versus Shawn Michaels at Mania 10 in a ladder match for the unification. It's Shawn's Intercontinental title, his real Intercontinental title, and Razor's fake title, according to the announcers, or at least one of the announcers. Well, that was Lawler. But this is great stuff. Set the story here. Shawn was a champion heading into like October, but then got popped for a steroid failure. So he basically was stripped of the title, but he never sent it back. So they created a new champion where it was a battle royal. Razor and Martel were the last two. Razor Ramon and Rick Martel were the last two, and then Razor beat Rick Martel in a singles match the following week. And then Razor had been Intercontinental champion for a while, and then him and Shawn had this feud and everything, and really had a great ladder match. It was a terrific ladder match. Not the first ladder match in WWE history. That was Brett and Shawn in '92. I forget exactly where it was. It was on a house show. It was on a Coliseum video release. I don't remember the Coliseum video release right now, but it was a really, it was a fun match where they worked with the ladder, and it was really good stuff. But so you get, you get just great spots and everything. Shawn stealing the show. Razor doing great spots with the ladder as well. Razor managing to get the victory and falling off the ladder afterwards. Razor got to hold the be the unified Intercontinental champion, the undisputed Intercontinental champion, and he lost it to Razor, or Razor lost to Diesel about 10 days later at a Superstar taping. Then Nash didn't tear his quad when he won the Intercontinental title, so that's good. But number 1, clearly, come on, you guys knew what was going to be number 1 when this list started. Randy Savage versus Ricky Steamboat at Mania 3. What do I need to say about one of the greatest Mania matches of all time? One of the greatest WWE matches of all time. Fuck, you could put that in the NWA and it would have fucking worked. You could have put it in Dallas. Except it probably wouldn't have been able to draw people in Dallas, because at that point in '87, Dallas wasn't drawing anything. That was my one pot shot at Dallas. Even though it's a great promotion, whatever. Savage versus Steamboat, though, it was the match of Mania 3. It was, to me, until Taker and Michaels came along at Mania 25, it was the best match at Mania ever. People still regard it as the best match in Mania history, and that's fine. It's like 1 and 1A. I mean, it's like pepperoni pizza or loaded pepperoni pizza. Or any kind of pizza. It's like your favorite pizza and your second favorite pizza. Which one are you really gonna complain if you go with either one? Honestly. Randy Savage versus Ricky Steamboat was a fucking terrific match. Made the Intercontinental title matter so goddamn much, and that's just what it's all about. So it was great. So that's what I gotta say. That is my list. Do you agree? Do you disagree with what I said? Like, share, subscribe. The Twitter handle is in the description. And I've been John Ritlin, and I will see you soon.